Okay, I'll call to order the Utility Commission meeting for April 10th, 2024 at 5 p.m. The agenda was posted and a quorum is present.
Yes.
And you can do the roll call, please? Or you don't have, I mean, visually just
Yep,
do it.
got it.
Okay, sorry.
Nope, no worries.
And then public appearances, do we have anybody to speak out there in the ether land? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to number 4, discuss and consider the minutes of the Utility Commission meeting of March 13th, 2024. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve the Wednesday, March 13th meeting minutes.
And a second, please?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
And no one abstaining. Okay. Number 5, discuss and consider approval of the vouchers. I don't have the number, so can somebody give it to us, please, for a motion?
I got a number, I guess. I mean, the question I have is why is the net invoice amount less than the amount paid? It looks like by about $1,000. If you go up, it looks like there's about $400 difference in, what is that? See what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple different lines of accounting where it's different from the invoice versus the amount paid.
Yeah, some credits like, oh, household, that's the one. Oh, that's probably it, two household.
Yeah, there's a credit to Northern Battery. It's most likely the credits. Without running the numbers.
Invoice amount, but wouldn't the credit mean that we pay less than the invoice amount?
We would have paid that invoice, and then, particular to this situation, some pants were credited back to us. Basically, there's a credit sitting there. Next month, in the next couple months, that credit will be absorbed back into future invoices. So that's what we're seeing in this case.
Okay, I've never seen that before, but at any rate, I'll make the motion to approve the vouchers at $77,831.04.
And a second, please?
A second.
Any discussion on that other than what we've had? Then all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Hearing, and no abstaining, so that passes. Number 6, unfinished business. Discuss and consider the next steps for the Ridge Lift Station and Force Main.
I'm going to present my screen here. Thanks, JJ. Okay. Minimize that. Okay, so just a kind of refresher where we left off with this. This was the part of Andy's report from the last meeting. This is the Ridge Lift Station and associated force main that would kind of serve this east side of town. At the last meeting, our direction was to meet with Hydrite and kind of discuss the route through their property and talk about the easements required to do that. So we had that meeting. It went very well. They seemed very responsive and very willing to work with us on it. They actually proposed 2 routes to us. We're finalizing that, working with staff and working with them, but just basically going through their site and whether they wanted it to go around this little staging area was the main point of discussion. But they seem to be really willing to work with us, and So that was good. So the next step would be, you know, what's the developer doing? And it's sounding like they're wanting to move forward. You know, JJ, I think you could probably just give a little detail on what's the latest with Lakewood.
Yep, as of now, they're still planning to come present a concept to this group next month, and Plan Commission, I believe probably the month after, just to basically prove that they're actually a developer out there moving forward, so that you understand this is why we keep bringing this conversation back to Utility Commission. Be a little more in detail when they present to the Plan Commission, but
Right.
basically, yeah, show a concept for what they're planning for the first phase here.
Yeah. So, the next step, so we would like to, let me get, this is the attachment to the meeting minutes, or the meeting agenda. So, we talked with Hydrite about getting out there and getting some survey. Kind of want to do that before the leaves come in. They had said that, they had asked us when we were going to be there, and they said, well, we could, you know, be there as soon as the end of the month. So the next step would be to kind of get the design going on our end for the force main route and the lift station. So basically, we thinking that it would be like a shelf-ready plan set, that if they're ready to go and they're ready to go like they say they are, you know, it's gonna take us probably the most of the summer to design this, and, you know, we're hoping to bid it in like October or November. So, you know, we would kind of want to get going with the survey and get going on our end, because there is some time on our end to design it before it's actually ready to go. So as far as what you guys would be getting, you know, there'd be a shelf-ready plan set. It's not like it's gonna have to be redone, or the plans would go to waste. It's not like it would be wasted effort on our part, wasted dollars to design it. So I'll pull up Andy's report. This is the report from last time. It kind of seemed like we were leaning towards alternative B, which is the submersible lift station. And down here was the engineering, basically, was this 890. So that would be everything, right? That's start to finish, design, bidding, construction, construction-related services. We're saying that for us to get it designed and get it ready to bid, including the lift station, it would be somewhere around $450,000, and probably that's a little on the high side. We would work with staff to get a task order, get the details kind of lined in, and you know, kind of figure out exactly what we want to do. That would include some things like a wetland delineation, geotechnical reports, some title searches. But it kind of makes sense to do the scope of the full design rather than to kind of do it as pieces. You know, and if something bad happens, we can stop, you know, we can get the lift station to 50% if we're worried about that. But at the very least, you know, it allows us to scope the whole route of that force main. I'll go back to that. JJ, you look like you're
Just wanted to.
you're ready to step in.
I know you've all heard it a bunch of times over the last couple of years, but we just confirmed yet again where the impact fee balance sits. And now that the SCADA project is all scoped and bid out, we know where those dollars are. And I think it was 2 years ago where Cameron essentially said we need to spend this money. And kind of at the same time right now, we're just kicking off redoing. Well, we're not going to go with impact fees. Most likely it's going to be a user fee or a connection charge. I'm sorry. But essentially we have to spend down that fund. So like Ty said, even if worst case scenario, these guys stop answering the phone, don't come back with this particular development, their work can continue. We want to and need to spend the money to play in this anyway. We know at some point in the future it's got to be there. So it's this, at this point, I'm sure we will come back and keep updating, especially if they keep moving at the pace they are, and it is at the same time as we're designing it and we're thinking about construction. But there's really no reason that they shouldn't get started and design this whole thing for us.
Yeah, thanks, JJ. That was pretty much all I had. Basically, you know, we can keep you guys updated as far as that, but that was kind of the gist of where we're at right now, and kind of the next steps in our eyes. So.
Okay, any questions?
I guess the one question I have is, as far as the user fees go, when does that start getting a payback? Does that get a payback as soon as they purchase the land and have an approved plan to connect to the lift station? Or does the user fee start paying it back when a home takes occupancy of the house?
You ask good questions, Mike. That one could depend, the specifics of that might depend on the particular developer. In this case, they could potentially be eligible for some funds we have for more affordable housing. So that could go towards it in this case. So the specifics of the very first development that comes could vary. For the next hundreds and hundreds of acres, it'd be, once the homes come on, most likely. But again, we just signed the deal with Ellers to talk through the specifics and the design of that. So that'll be coming back to this commission too as that work moves forward. But the exact way that the first development will fund their portion is not really defined yet.
Okay.
Those are the details that'll be, once we're actually talking construction and they're on pace and, everybody's seen it and they're going through the approval process, then we'll have those details worked out between us and Cameron and Strand and Ellers, and those will all come back here.
Okay.
And they're tentatively gonna be here next month, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Any other questions for them? And we don't need a motion here, this is just information, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, did you want a motion, Ty?
I guess,
We did a motion a month or two ago for them to actually start the process. Do we
I
need
don't know
another
so I guess in order for us to, start work, we would need a signed task order. So I don't know if we want to say that, that's acceptable to have a number, up to that 450,000 and then have that be signed after we work on it with staff. If that's, so maybe. That'd
look better, I suppose, to have an official motion in the minutes, yeah.
Okay, so a second motion after
Well,
the one we did last
did we get a
month.
motion to approve
I'm
us
trying to think
us to
through the
actually
last-
design it? Or was it, I thought it was just for us to work with Hydrite and to take the next step. So if, I guess,
No, I'm not opposed to having another motion.
Yeah.
It's just, I thought we had given you a motion to go ahead and proceed with this. But let's put a
Okay.
dollar amount on it if that's what you want.
I would say if we just do not to exceed 450, then
for this stage, and then, the bidding and construction, when that happens, that can be amended in. And again, we think that number is high. I wanted to make sure we gave you a high number, and as we dial in the scope and the hours and everything, we'll be able to get you guys a good scope and fee and work with staff on that, so.
Okay, so, somebody wanna make a motion to approve that amount of money, up to that amount of money? I don't have the number anymore. I'm illiterate this week. What's the number?
450,000 was the high,
Okay.
was our, for now.
I'll make a
yes.
motion to approve up to 450,000 for the progression of the lift station. Is that adequate?
And I'll second that.
And you seconded it?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion here? All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And no one abstaining. Again, thanks for your information.
No problem.
Let's go to number 7, new business. Discuss and consider bid results for the electrical work on the SCADA project. And I think JJ, you got that one? Or John, somebody?
Either one of us,
We just had our bid results come through for the electrical portion of that project, and we had just one bidder. It was Pieper Construction, or Pieper Electrical Construction. They were the lone bidder on that project. The amount of the bid that they provided was less than what we anticipated, and ultimately, they were the ones that originally walked around with us before this project even gained a real foothold. They're an excellent contractor, and we as staff would certainly encourage, even though there's one bid, to kind of go with that bid.
Okay, and we probably need a motion for that to go forward, right? Mm-hmm. And do we need the dollar amount in there?
Yeah, I have that. The bid was $279,920 from
Okay.
Peeper.
So I'll make a motion to approve that amount, up to that amount for the electrical work on the SCADA system. Is that adequate? Okay, and a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
The memo mentions $108,000 for the Trillium lift station. Do we need to include that in the motion, or?
That would not be included in this part of this. This is just the base bid. That would be a whole separate thing, and that's, again, this is kind of a moving cog of things, but ultimately, it's all based on, the Trillium, as you guys know, is all based on this Ridge Lift Station and how that kind of plays out. But currently, that will not be included in this.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Aye.
And, I gotta slow down for Mike. And anyone abstaining? Okay, so that passes, thank you. Now we'll go back to number 8, engineers report.
Yeah, so update on the different projects. First, we'll start with the developments. Shady Grove, there's really nothing big to report on. Same as our February report, that there's a plat change and they need to add some sewer and water to serve the multifamily lots. So we're working, they actually submitted some shop drawings to us, so it sounds like they're getting ready to get going. Haven't heard an actual date from them, but we'll continue to work with that developer. West Lawn, we're working with Hamburg on the Phase 5 lift station. The goal is to have this to kind of match the Shady Grove lift station. That was kind of a similar size and service area, so we're kind of using that as a basis, and that is scheduled to take place in 2024. And then we're also working with them and the developer for the 6th edition, which is to the west of that. So there are talks going on about that. The Heyday development, they submitted a GDP to the village, and it was presented at the Plan Commission and Village Board, the previous meetings. We'll continue to work with the developer engineer. One of the comments utility-wise that we had was extending 12-inch water and sewer to the northwesterly limits of their site to allow for future expansion. They had shown 8-inch, so we already have 12-inch stubbed out, kind of where it ends at the Shady Grove T. So we want to allow for that to keep going west.
And they're okay with that, or?
There will probably have to be some discussions and negotiations on that, but
Most likely, we'd pay for the oversizing, so 8 is what they'd have to build to serve their subdivision. We've done that
Sure.
almost
sure,
everywhere.
sure.
Yep, we pay for the
Yeah.
extra size.
No, that's fine.
Yep. And so the next step would be the precise implementation plan, the PIP, and that's where we'll really get into the details of the engineering drawings, and they'd like to start this summer. Verizon, they requested, as we discussed at the last meeting, they requested to place equipment on a water tower, so we've reviewed plans, and we'll continue to work with them as a lease agreement is established. Village projects, as we already really touched a lot on the Ridge Lift Station, so kind of the next step would be to get the survey going after we get a signed task order, and then we'll keep updating you guys on that subsequent meetings. And then the SCADA project, which John already presented on, that the base bid came in under what we had previously seen, and we just approved that. So that concludes my report.
Okay, I guess I got a question on the tower. When they wanted 1% and we were gonna go with the waste collection increase, where are we at on that?
Well, he should have hung out a few more minutes. We went back and forth with him a little bit. Cameron's happy with where it landed. So we were about to send off an email and say we're into the contract negotiations, but they have yet to sign the agreement to reimburse, so I'm not sending it to our attorneys yet.
Okay.
So we're on hold.
But they
Essentially,
came off
Cameron put together a
They came off of the
spreadsheet.
1%, right?
Yep, but they didn't go with the index either, but what they responded with, Cameron did his magic on where it would average out over the life of the contract, and he was happy with it, that we'd come out ahead. And Yeah, I was about to inform the commission and then realized there's no point since they haven't signed anything
Okay,
yet,
yeah,
so.
no, just keep.
To be continued.
Keep Cameron happy.
Yep.
That's what we want. He didn't get his $1 million, so we gotta keep him happy. Okay, again, appreciate your report. And then, lastly, but not leastly, director's report.
I guess the notable items this past month, currently we just started our kind of spring hydrant flushing, flushing our dead ends in the village, and then we kind of picked an area kind of north of Oak Street to kind of make sure we exercise and flush the hydrants in those areas. That's started on Monday, and it'll take us 2 or 3 weeks to kind of work through the village, or at least the north part of the village and dead ends. Valve exercising will also kind of start now that we're in spring, and we can start kind of going around and exercising our distribution valves. We'll kind of pick a quadrant and kind of run through those valves. We're currently kind of finalizing our PSC report for 2023, which you'll get an update most likely next meeting about that. You will be happy to know that a meter was installed today at the church, so that task is officially done. We did replace the mixer yesterday. We didn't, but the mixer was replaced at the North Tower. If you remember, that mixer kind of went down. Now we're back mixing water in our towers, so that's great news. We did pull both pumps at our business park lift station as just a preventative maintenance project yesterday as well. Similar to South Main, both impellers are all but shot. So we ordered some new impellers. They'll have to put a new lower seal and some new impellers in those 2 pumps in the next month or 2 when they finally get in. So just to kind of keep you up to date on that. But that's really it for us currently.
What are we getting for the life expectancies for those
Well,
impellers?
from what I was told, those impellers are original. The seals were replaced in the last 7 or 8 years, but the impellers, from what I can see and have asked, there's no recollection of those have been done. So that lift station was put in
2004?
Yeah,
3
so-
or 4, yep.
So I'd say that's pretty good for, there was some, from what I was told, there was an incident kind of up on the Schneider development where some gravel got into the pipe, and I know there was some extensive cleaning done, but we cleaned that business park this year and found more gravel, and it's not anybody's fault, but that's what happens. You tend to find this stuff over time, and I'm assuming that the gravel didn't help these impellers as the gravel got kind of worked into the wet well, the pumps pumped the gravel out, and potentially did some of the work as to those impellers as well, but
Doesn't shine them, huh?
no, not usually.
Okay, sorry, that was
Yep.
off the script. My apologies.
Thank you otherwise.
Yeah, thank you, John. Number 10 is set the date for the next meeting. I think it's May 8th, if I'm correct, because the 1st is the 1st. 5 o'clock. Everybody good with that? So we'll set
Yep.
May 8th at 5 PM. And then 11, future agenda items. Do we have any that people want to add, folks want to add, rather? Okay. So, and lastly, adjournment, number 12. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Anybody want to stay? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Anyone
Aye.
opposed? And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. I'll check with